Hi, second graders. Today is our last day to work on this skill together. You may still work a little bit more in your classrooms, but I wanted to review sequence of events one more time. So remember, when we are talking about the sequence of events, we are talking about things that happen in the story, events, and we think about them in a specific order. What happened first, and after that, and finally, almost like our frames and arrows. We need to stay in that order. Some of the time order words are listed below in red. We talked about looking for those. First, second, then, after that, next, last, finally. So put your eyes on those to help you organize the story. Let's do a story together and talk about the sequence of events. So I am going to read this. You can listen, you can read it in your mind as I'm reading it. But remember, there aren't a lot of pictures. So your job is to visualize, is to think about these events, act them out in your mind to help you remember. Here we go. The story is called Cameron, the Relay Machine. Cameron was a star swimmer at Eldred Middle School. He had been swimming competitively since he was 5 years old. He was to swim in 3 events and 1 relay at the meet on Tuesday. As always, Cameron had his signature bowl of spaghetti and meatballs before preparing for the meet. He also always has a Rice Krispie bar immediately following his warm-up routine. I wonder what his warm-up routine is. That made me think for a minute. So he eats some spaghetti, and then after his warm-up routine, he eats a Rice Krispie treat. Sounds good. Let's keep going. When he prepares for a meet, the first thing that he does is stretch his muscles and warm up by running in place immediately after stretching. Okay, so visualizing that. Then he does 10 push-ups followed by a run up and down the middle school bleachers. Wow, that's quite the warm-up. Still visualizing that. I'm ready for the last paragraph. Cameron swam well. He placed first twice and got a 3rd place in the 500-meter butterfly stroke. He truly dominated the relay, getting his team a 2-lap lead by the time he got out of the water. Okay, so if I think about this, told me a little bit about Cameron, told me about what he does before he warms up, when he's warming up, and then how he did in that meet. Let's go ahead and put some of these events in order. So we have not all of them, but we have 6 events from the story, and we're going to put a number in front of them to organize them from the beginning, middle, and end. So let's read through these quickly just to get them in our minds. So Cameron ate a Rice Krispie bar. Do that. Cameron ran up and down the bleachers. He did do that. He did push-ups. I remember reading that. Cameron won his first swimming event. I remember that also. Cameron ate meatballs and spaghetti. Yep. And he stretched his muscles. He did all those things. But now we need to put them in order. Can you think out of all of these what might be the first thing he did? And I know sometimes the last thing is easy to pick also. You might remember what happened last in the story. So maybe if you can think about that, it might get rid of some of your choices. So I'll give you a minute. Your teachers can pause the video. You can pause it at home and think about it. But let's see, what was the first thing that happened in the story? What was number 1? Cameron ate meatballs and spaghetti. Great. And did you think of that last one, how he won the event at the very end? So I know that this was the first thing that they mentioned in the story that he always does before he warms up. And then I know at the end of the story, he was winning those events. So I know those are first and last. So now the middle is where it can get confusing. But what did he do after he ate his meatballs and spaghetti? They talked about him doing his warm-up routine. He did a lot of things during that warm-up routine. Did he stretch his muscles? Did he do push-ups? Did he run up and down the bleachers? Or did he eat a Rice Krispie bar? If you're stuck, you can always look back in the story, but I remember him saying he stretched his muscles. Kind of almost like when you get out of bed and you stretch, or you get up off the floor and you stretch. So now we have 3 things left. After he stretched his muscles, did he do push-ups? Did he run up and down the bleachers, or did he eat that Rice Krispie bar? I'm not sure. I know it was in the middle, and almost positive number 3 is one of these. So let's look back in our story. Oh yeah, right here in the middle. When he prepares for meat, the first thing that he does is stretch his muscles. We got that one right. And warm up by running in place immediately after stretching. So he stretches, he runs in place. Then, oh, here it is. Then he does 10 push-ups, followed by a run up and down the middle school bleachers. So I went right back in the middle to check. And number 3 was he did the push-ups, followed by the run up and down the bleachers. So then, remember, right after he got done with his warm-up routine, right up here, right after, he got to eat his Rice Krispie bar. So he did his warm-up. This was his warm-up. And then he got to eat that Rice Krispie bar as kind of a reward. So that was our 5th. So in order, Cameron ate his spaghetti and meatballs. He stretched his muscles. He did push-ups. He ran up and down the bleachers, got that reward of the Rice Krispie bar, and then he won the events. So it takes a little practice. It takes some looking back in the story, looking for those time order words, but you can do it. Great job today.